chapter.
With your permission.
Will I be able to share the screen, or will Balaram be able to do it, or how is it? Am I the host, or?
Okay, you have been made co-host. If you have the access, you can, Prabhu, or you want me to do?
Yeah, if you can share, Prabhu,
Yeah,
please.
Prabhu.
And
Which one you
Srimad
want?
Bhagavatam 10.7.6.
Just a moment.
Yeah.
Just a moment, Prabhu.
Yeah, no problem.
Is it visible, Prabhu? 10.7.6.
Correct, Prabhu. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Prabhu. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Like Prabhu, out of his humility, he introduced me, but he just didn't introduce me to this class, but he introduced our family into Krishna consciousness as well. And yeah, we sort of got into this path because of Prabhu and his family and their causeless mercy. So we are eternally grateful. And Prabhu has also continued to shower his mercy upon us all throughout by his association with his guidance. And even now, he has overlooked all my disqualification and he has given me this wonderful opportunity to serve all of you Vaishnavas and Prabhuji as well, by giving me this opportunity. So generally when you serve a Vaishnava, you feel, okay, now the burden is relieved. Now you've given back something. But here I feel more and more indebted because, Prabhu is constantly giving these causeless opportunities to serve him. So I think I can only, eternally like convey my gratitude to him and to all of the Vaishnavas assembled here as well for kindly giving me this wonderful opportunity to purify myself, right? Because most of the things that I'm planning to speak in this session, I myself don't practice or don't have enough faith, and I'm sincerely begging the blessings of all the Vaishnavas here so that by serving all of you, maybe there is some hope for me as well, right? So, before we start with the shloka, we'll have maybe a quick Mangalacharan because I know we are having a short session, but maybe I'll chant a quick Mangalacharan and we'll start right with the shloka. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanaatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताक स्वामिन्वित नामने नमः आचार्य पदाय निताय कृपा प्रदायने गौरकथा नामदाय नगर नाम तारणे. Yeah. Great. So we'll start with this shloka. So I'll chant the shloka. If possible, please chant with me while staying on mute. But mostly I'll only chant the shloka. Right. So औत्तानिकौत्सुकमना मनस्विनी समागतान् पूजयति व्रजौकसः नैवार्षुणोद्वैरुदितं सुतस्य सा रुदन्स्तनार्तिचरणाव उदाक्षिपात्. So, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: The liberal mother, Yashoda, absorbed in celebrating the Utthana ceremony, was busy receiving guests, worshipping them with all respects and offering them with clothing, cows, garlands, and grains. Thus, she could not hear the child crying for his mother. At that time, the child Krishna, demanding to drink the milk of his mother's breast, angrily threw his legs upward. Can we have one volunteer to read the purport? It's just one paragraph. Would anybody be able to do that?
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam.
Yes, Prabhu. Krishna had been placed underneath a householder handcart, but this handcart was actually another form of the Sakatasura, a demon who had come there to kill the child. Now, on the plea of demanding to suck his mother's breast, Krishna took this opportunity to kill the demon. Thus, he kicked Sakatasura just to expose him. Although Krishna's mother was engaged in receiving guests, Lord Krishna wanted to draw her attention by killing the Sakatasura, and therefore he kicked that cart-shaped demon. Such are the pastimes of Krishna. Krishna wanted to draw the attention of his mother. While doing so, he created a great havoc, not understandable by ordinary persons. These narrations are wonderfully enjoyable, and those who are fortunate are struck with wonder upon hearing of these extraordinary activities of the Lord. Although the less intelligent regard them as mythological because a dull brain cannot understand them, they are real facts. These narrations are actually so enjoyable and enlightening that Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami took pleasure in them, and other liberated persons following in their footsteps became fully jubilant by hearing about the wonderful activities of the Lord.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thanks a lot. Great. So here today we'll be discussing the pastime of Shakatasur, right? But before that, as you would have seen in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing or glorifying this section of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the childhood pastimes of the Lord. And he's saying how this is extremely joyous. This is a very, very, wonderful section of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So before we start with this pastime or with the shloka, we'll just spend a few minutes to meditate upon how important this whole aspect is and how important these pastimes are. What position do they hold in a devotee's life and in Srimad Bhagavatam as well, right? So I'll probably start a little behind with the rarity of the human form of life, how rare it is to get the human form of life, right? And I'm assuming most of us here are practicing devotees, right? And we've been attending classes. So I won't dwell a lot on what are the scriptures saying on how rare it is to get a human form of life and all of that. But I think it is a common established fact for all of us that getting a Manushya Janma, that too in Bharat Varsha, in Kali Yuga, is not an ordinary thing. It's a very, very special event to happen. The greatest of Devi Devatas, they are performing yajnas so that they can get the benefit that we have got, right? And that is because in the hellish planets, there is a lot of suffering, too much of suffering, so much suffering that in that suffering it is impossible to remember Krishna, right? And in the heavenly planets, there is so much of comfort and opulence and luxury that in all of that enjoyment, it is difficult to remember Krishna. But in the Bhuloka, in the middle planetary system, this is a perfect mix of suffering and happiness. When we are flying in the sky, suddenly Maya will hit us with some suffering, which will remind us that, hey, this is all temporary. This is dukkhalayam ashashvatam, get back to Krishna. And then it's not so much suffering that we just get absorbed in that. There is some release, some gap in between where we can actually think about the Lord so that, we don't get into this situation again and again and all of that, right? So this is in a way the most spiritually conducive arrangement that we have. Human form of life, Kali Yuga, Bharata Bhumi, Bharata Varsha, right? So now in this, but even after having this very, very rare opportunity, right? Our scriptures say that in this arrangement, to get bhakti, to get devotion is even more rare, right? It's not at all easy. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna repeatedly emphasizes this. He says, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeve sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. So it says, Bahunam janmanam ante. After many, many, at the end of many, many lifetimes, does one knowledgeable person realize that Krishna is the supreme, Krishna is everything, right? And we should serve him, we should be devoted to him. That's a very long process. And it's not just one place in Bhagavad Gita, it's a repeated theme. In another place in the 7th chapter, I think, he says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mameti tattvataha. That out of many, many thousands of people who will try for perfection, very few will get there. And out of thousands of people who are trying to attain perfection, very few will get to me, right? They will understand me, they will know me. So this is a very common theme that bhakti is very rare. Human form of life, Kali Yuga, Bharatvarsha is still okay. It's rare, but it's okay. But to get bhakti is extremely rare. But it doesn't stop here. In bhakti, right, there are a lot of things that we can do. And Prahlad Maharaj, in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, very nicely distributes bhakti into the 9 limbs, the Navavidha bhakti. And amongst those 9 limbs, Prahlad Maharaj starts with Shravanam, right? Shravanam is glorified, hearing, right? And hearing about Krishna's pastimes, this aspect of Shravanam is very, very important. And especially for conditioned souls like me, this is the only means to see Krishna, right? If I'm seeing Krishna, deities, Krishna's forms, or any other way of trying to perceive Krishna, like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur calls it, it is just a mere eye exercise, right? Because, there's this saying that, if two devotees are in Vrindavan, right? One person is sitting in a Harikatha, one person is doing Govardhan Parikrama or Vrindavan Parikrama, and who's the more superior amongst the two? Then it is said that the person who is hearing Harikatha is not just 1 million times more superior, but many, many million times more superior than the other person who is doing the Parikrama and everything. Now, this is not to demean the other sevas or Parikrama or anything.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Sorry, Prabhu, for interruption. Shall I stop sharing, Prabhu, screen?
Yes, Mataji. Please feel free to stop sharing. Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Yes, so it's not that those devotees who are doing parikrama, no, it's not that, it's less or anything, but just that because they don't know the glories of Krishna, the glories of the Dham, they might end up doing lot of aparadas, Dham aparad, Vaishnava aparad, Guru aparad, Seva aparad, and so on, right? Instead of getting benefit, they might do more harm to their spiritual life. But a person who's hearing Harikatha, they might actually they might make progress because they realize Krishna. So for conditioned souls like us, like me, Harikatha is the only means to know Krishna, to see Krishna, because we can't see Krishna through our eyes, we can see him through our ears. But it's not just for conditioned souls. Even for liberated personalities, Harikatha is very, very glorious, right? We see in the Ramayana, at the end of Ramayana, Lord Ram walked into Sarayu with his brothers and entire Ayodhya walked in, and they went into Sarayu, and from there, Mahavishnu came out along with Anantasesh and all his associates, and they all went back to Saket Dham, Ayodhya, in the eternal spiritual world. But when Hanuman was called, Hanuman didn't go, right? And we all know what was the reason, right? So Hanuman, there's a very beautiful shloka glorifying this, right? It goes like this in the Maruti Stuti. Yatra yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam tatra tatra kritamastaka anjalim Vashpavari Paripurna Lochanam Marutim Namati Rakshasantakam. So it says, Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam. Wherever there is glorification of Lord Ram, Lord Krishna, Harikatha, Tatra Tatra. There Hanuman is always present. And in what position? Krita Mastaka Anjalim. His head is bowed down and his arms are folded in front of his head. Right? In that position, Hanuman is present in the Harikatha. And what is he doing apart from hearing? Vashpavari Paripurna Lochanam. His eyes are filled with tears of loving tears, happy tears, hearing the Harikatha, hearing the Ramakatha, right? And to that Hanuman, we offer our humble obeisances. So even for liberated personalities, associates of the Lord like Hanuman, Harikatha is a very glorious thing. That is why Kabir in his Doha, he says, Ram Bulava Bejiya Diya Kabira Roy, Jo Anand Satsang mein Vaikunt mein kaha hoy. That Ram personally sends me an invitation that you please come back to Ayodhya. That would be the goal of our life, right? To go back home, back to Godhead. But if Krishna sends a personal invitation, Diya Kabira Roy, Kabir is crying. Why? Because Jo Anand Satsang mein Vaikunt mein kaha hoy. In Vaikunta, there's no need of preparing the consciousness for Janmastami. That's not needed for Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan. They're always in that consciousness. But we need that. We have that opportunity to discuss about the Lord, his position, his glories, his pastimes, and all of that. So Kabir doesn't want to miss out on that, right? Anyway, this was the theme that even amongst bhakti, which is very, very rare, Shravanam is more important. And in Shravanam, out of all the topics that we can hear, hearing about Bhagavatam is most glorious and very, very rare. Janmantare kritam punyam tada bhagavatam lavet. Right? After many, many lifetimes of doing pious activities, then only somebody gets the glories of hearing Bhagavatam. And within Bhagavatam, there are 12 cantos, which overall last around 335 chapters. Out of that, 90 chapters are dedicated to the 10th canto, which only talk about Krishna's pastimes. And 11th canto, 31 chapters of the Uddhava Gita. So 90 and 31, 121 chapters out of the 335 chapters are purely dedicated to Krishna. Right. There are other cantos where one or two shlokas here and there talk about Krishna's pastimes. But amongst all the avatars of the Lord, Krishna, Krishna is not avatar, he's Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. But that form of the Lord, the original form, is profusely described. But even in Krishna's appearance, Krishna Leela, 125 years of his Leela, from his appearance to disappearance, the first 10 years of his life is much more widely elaborated than the remaining 115 years of his life. Right? Then we can imagine, and we are discussing about that childhood pastimes, those 10 years of Sri Krishna. So how glorious it is, right? So just to summarize, right, we discussed how human form of life in Bharatvarsha and Kali Yuga is very rare. In that, getting a devotion, getting bhakti is very rare. Amongst bhakti, out of all the things that we can do, doing Shravanam is very, very glorious. Amongst all the things that we can do Shravanam about, hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam is glorious. In all the 18,000 shlokas of Srimad Bhagavatam that we can hear, this particular section of Krishna's childhood pastimes is extremely glorious, right? It's very celebrated. And that is what we are doing right now. And okay, I'll quickly keep doing time checks once in a while. But yeah, so, and that is why,
Hare
when,
Krishna, Prabhu. No problem. You can continue till 8:45 also, Prabhu. No problem.
okay, thank you, Mataji.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
if I target for 8:30, I might wind up by 8:45.
Yes,
That is
Prabhu.
the intent. Great. Okay. So here, when Sukadeva Goswami spoke about Putana, in the previous sessions we discussed about Putana, but he spoke the entire pastime, and then Sukadeva Goswami gave the Falashruti of Putana pastime, right? Govinde Lavate Ratam, that one develops attraction and love towards Govinda by hearing about the Putana pastime. When Parikshit Maharaj heard the Falashruti, he got worried. Generally, people like me, when we hear Falashruti, we become excited. Oh, this sounds nice. But Parikshit Maharaj heard it, he became worried because he thought, is Sukadeva Goswami going to stop it here? Is he going to stop Krishna's pastimes here? Because in the ninth canto, also towards the end, Parikshit Maharaj just summarizes Krishna Leela in two shlokas, and then he stops. So then Parikshit Maharaj is very worried. So he humbly puts a proposal to Sukadeva Goswami, saying, Sukadeva Goswami, based on whatever I've heard from you and whatever I know in life, I think hearing Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's childhood pastimes are very, very glorious. And he gives symptoms of hearing Krishna's pastimes. It increases our devotion towards Krishna. It helps us have friendly relations with Vaishnavas. In that way, he lists all the reasons and he says, if all of this is true, according to your opinion, and if you feel it will benefit me and I'm deserving of this benefit, then kindly, if you don't mind, please elaborate more on Krishna's childhood pastimes. Please don't summarize. Then Sukadeva Goswami was very happy with this proposal and with Parikshit Maharaj's humility. And he said, yes, definitely, sure. I will continue Krishna's childhood pastimes. And by Parikshit Maharaj's mercy, we have, this section of Srimad Bhagavatam elaborately, the childhood pastimes. Right? And now we are coming to the shloka. So we see here how the Utthana ceremony is mentioned, right? So coming to the pastime that we are discussing today. So the Shakatasur pastime, right? Asur is a demon and Shakata is a cart, hand cart, right? In those times they every household majorly used to have that, right? So Asur, a demon entered into a cart, household cart. That is what Shakatasur is. But how did that happen? Who was this demon? Who was he sent by? I think who was he sent is a very commonsensical answer. But yeah, why did he come there? What was his intent? Who was he in his previous life? What does he represent for all of us? What lessons can we learn? That is what we'll try to see now, right? So this pastime itself, what happens is that there is this Utthana ceremony in our Vedic culture. So what this ceremony is, for the first time, when a baby tries to topple on its own, right? That ceremony is celebrated as Utthana ceremony, right? And this ceremony happened on the Rohini Nakshatra day, the same nakshatra as the Janma Nakshatra of Lord Krishna, where Krishna turned for the first time, and that was a celebration. So in our Vedic culture, we see every small thing, there's a celebration, there's a festival. There are 16 samskaras that keeps happening right from the soul entering the mother's womb. It keeps happening until after they pass away also, there are ceremonies and rituals, right? But yeah, so this was one ceremony where Krishna turned for the first time and everybody wanted to celebrate it very grandly, the ceremony, Utthana ceremony. But amongst everybody, Yashoda Maya wanted to celebrate it the most. And she is the leader of this ceremony. She is the leader of this festival. So how this works is There are some samskaras or some festivals where the husband is the lead. Some festivals where the wife is the lead. So previously, when the Lord was born and when the Uttana ceremony happened, Krishna is 3 months old. He's a 3 months old baby. And initially, 3 months ago, when the Lord appeared, Nanda Maharaj performed that Nandotsav festival. That time, Nanda Maharaj was the lead. He was leading the festival, and Yashoda Maya was supporting, assisting. Now it is Ulta. This festival is supposed to be led by the wife. So now Yashoda Maya is taking the lead, and Nanda Maharaj is supporting. Right. So you see beautiful harmony amongst all the family members that are Vedic culture has. Right. So Yashoda Maya was very excited. She wanted to do this very elaborately. She called all the Gopas, Gopis, Brahmanas, everybody she called. Whole of Vrindavan was there in Nanda Bhavan that day, right? And Nanda Maharaj was assisting. And not just that, between the husband and wife, there is harmony. Through this festival, we could see that there is harmony amongst all the Varnas and Ashramas, right? The Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Yashoda Maya and Nanda Maharaj are Vaishyas. Vaishyas and the Shudras, they're all calling the Brahmanas and they're serving the Brahmanas and they're feeding the Brahmanas and they're giving charity to the Brahmanas. And the Brahmanas in return are giving knowledge and they're performing yajnas, they're performing sacrifices, right? Without caring for what charity I'm getting. It is not that if a Kshatriya is giving golden crowns and golden coins, Brahmana is chanting the shloka properly. Otherwise, if a Shudra is just giving a few handful of rice, Brahmana is not chanting properly or Brahmana is not giving proper knowledge. It's not the same. According to the person who's receiving the knowledge, Brahmanas are giving whatever they can take, right? This is a perfect harmony, right? And now, so Yashoda Maya started, distributing and giving charity, calling the Brahmanas and everything. And the Garga Samhita very beautifully, elaborately describes this whole pastime. And it goes into the detail where it says that, Krishna was wearing a red color dress. He had a small golden ornaments all around him. His eyes had kajal and everything. And Yashoda Maya was also looking very, very beautiful. She had baby Krishna on her arms throughout. One arm Krishna, one arm she's giving charity, she's engaging with Brahmanas and everything, right? So in this way, very beautifully things are happening. And she's nicely seeking blessings for her baby from everybody who has come. But in the course of all of this, Krishna starts feeling sleepy. He starts yawning, and children, we know they want to sleep a lot and they start getting cranky, right? So Krishna started feeling very sleepy, and Mother Yashoda thought, okay, let me make some arrangement. So she goes to the backyard of the house and she sees, where can I put Krishna so that he can sleep for a while? So she sees there's a hand cart which people used to drive there, right? Move it around. So that hand cart was there in the backyard, and on that hand cart there was a lot of loaded things, utensils and other household items. It was loaded on the hand cart. Below that hand cart was a very nice shady place where Krishna could sleep. So Mother Yashoda kept Krishna there and she put him to sleep. And she did not just keep Krishna there and come back. She also slept next to Krishna. She kept patting Krishna until Krishna slept fully. And once Krishna was completely fully asleep, then only Mother Yashoda slowly got up and came back. And she came back and again she became fully engaged in the ceremony, in the festival. And again, Garga Samhita says, yeah, Mother Yashoda was very, very liberal. Generally, when we are very happy, we become more liberal, right? So Mother Yashoda, anyways, is a pure devotee. She is mother of Krishna himself, right? Suniti, in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, she tells Dhruva Maharaj that Krishna is the heart of millions of mothers. Now you can imagine the mother of Krishna, how much more liberal she will be, right? So Yashoda Maya was very liberally giving donations, charity, and everything, right? But when this was happening, and Krishna was lying under that chariot, under that hand cart, right? Something very interesting happens. A demon comes there by the name Utkacha, and this Utkacha demon was sent by Kamsa. Now this, Kamsa had this, system where he wouldn't defeat Rakshasas and demons. He would fight with them, he would subdue them, control them, and he would say, now your life is under my control, right? Generally, how when we take initiation, it is said, no, that this is not my body, this is Guru's body. I can't independently use however I want. So same system applies with Rakshasas also. They have their system where they get defeated by Kamsa and they say, my independence is in your hand. Whatever you say, I will do. Right? So Utkacha demon was like that. He was under Kamsa's control, and Kamsa sent one after the other all the demons to kill Krishna. First he sent Putana, it didn't work. Second, now he's sending this demon, Utkacha. Right? So Utkacha came, and Utkacha, the thing is, he was a ghost. He didn't have a gross body. Right? So I think any of us who have attended Bhagavad Gita classes, we know that the soul has two coverings. subtle body, which is made of mind, intelligence, false ego, which we can't see with our senses. And then we have the gross body, which is made of panchabhutas, earth, fire, air, water, ether. So some, like Bhagavatam and some places, it is mentioned that this Utkacha did not have any gross body. In other places, like Garga Samhita, it is mentioned Utkacha had only one element out of the five, which is air. That is why nobody could see, right? But anyway, because he had subtle bodies, he had desires to fulfill, but he didn't have a gross body. So he would enter into people and he would enter into non-living things to fulfill his desires, right? So in this situation, he thought this cart is a very nice medium to enter into because he can enter into that cart and then he can fall upon Krishna, and there is so much weight on top of it already because it's loaded, and it will fall on Krishna and crush Krishna and kill it, right? So this is what his plan was. With that plan, the Utkacha demon entered into the cart and he became Shakatasura, right? Shakata means the hand cart and Asura is a demon. That ghost demon entering into the Shakata is Shakatasura. Now the Shakatasura was all set. Now I'm going to fall on Krishna and kill him, destroy him. That is when what we read in the shloka happens. Where as soon as the demon enters the cart, Krishna opens his eyes. And whenever a baby open their eyes and they wake up from sleep, they want their mother next to him. And Krishna didn't have Yashodamaya next to him. So he was very restless. He started crying, right? And he started crying, but there were so many people, so much commotion, so much noise that Mother Yashoda, obviously, she was busy. She couldn't hear one small baby crying in the backyard. So Krishna thought, oh no, this is very, very, bad. He's getting desperate. And children, when they desperately cry, they move their hands and legs. So Krishna just moved his hands and legs, and the tip of his leg touched the cart, a fully loaded cart. And that was enough to send the cart flying in the air. And it's not that the cart went up and fell on him, but the cart went up, toppled, and fell next to Krishna. And everything that was loaded in the cart fell everywhere around. And the cart got dismantled into pieces, right? It got crushed. And the demon who was in that cart, he became liberated, right? He was destroyed and he became liberated. And that demon got a spiritual form, spiritual body. That demon offered obeisances to Krishna and he was escorted back to Goloka Vrindavan on a chariot with 100 horses. The demon went back, right? And now you can say, why Prabhu? Why did he go back? He was a demon. But he got the touch of Krishna's lotus feet. And if Krishna's lotus feet can't liberate us to Goloka Vrindavan, then nothing can, right? But we'll see about the whole background of it and how did he get this mercy of Krishna's lotus feet and everything. But this happened as a pastime. So the demon got killed and he got liberated. Krishna delivered all of it while doing nothing. He did not become huge or he did not display power or anything. He was just a small baby who was crying and he kicked. This point Prabhupada mentions in the purport as well. Krishna's Vrindavan Leela, Bala Leela is very, very special because he does everything, all the pastimes, without losing the mood of an infant. Krishna remains a small boy and he does everything. If he kills Putana, he remains a small boy and kills Putana. And all the other demons that you will see, he will not showcase that extreme power or bodily features or transformation or anything, right? When Narsimhadev came, he was so ferocious to kill Hiranyakashipu. When Vamanadev came, he was a small boy only when he came. He was a dwarf Brahmana. But then when he had to subdue Bali Maharaj, he became Trivikrama. In 3 steps, he conquered the entire material universe. Krishna never does like that in Vrindavan. He remains a small boy. He doesn't build any muscles and show that, hey, now I'm powerful, I will destroy this cart, nothing. That is why it is very, very bewildering. And Prabhupada writes in the purport that for those who are dull-headed, it's very difficult to comprehend. But for those soft-hearted Vaishnavas, it is a great matter of relishment and enjoyment, right? But yeah, Krishna did this miraculous thing. And all the Vrajavasis came running there. Oh my God, what is this noise? What happened to Krishna? Let's see. So all the Vrajavasis came, Yashodamaya came there. And their first priority was, is Krishna okay? Is Krishna doing fine? Let's see. So they saw that Krishna was in the middle, very careful, nothing happened, not even one scratch. Full backyard was a mess and the cart was broken and everything. They were all surprised. How did this happen? He was peacefully sleeping under the hand cart. How did this happen? Then there was a group of small boys. Bhagavatam says in the coming shlokas that there were a group of small children who saw Krishna's leg touching the cart and the cart toppling over. So they tell the elders you know what? We saw this Krishna, he was crying. And when he was crying, he touched his leg to the cart and the cart blew up in the air and it got crushed into pieces and everything fell apart. The elders thought, these children, no, these children, they have no work, nonsense, some childish thing they'll keep speaking. How is this possible? How can little Krishna do something like this, right? They disregarded it. They did not consider this to be true. Anyway, no, our acharyas explained why did this happen, right? A very, very sweet internal reason of why it happened. Krishna wanted Mother Yashoda's attention, like any child wants, right? But one aspect about Krishna is, about his supreme godhood is that, in the Brahma Samhita it is mentioned that all limbs and senses of Krishna is perfect, right? Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sadujjvala vigrahasya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. That his senses are all perfect. Our senses, with our eyes, we can only see. With our mouth, we can only talk or eat. With our hand, we can only do things. With our legs, we can only walk. Our legs cannot see, our eyes cannot hear, our ears cannot talk. None of this is possible. But with Krishna, that's not true. He's not limited like us. Any of his sense can do anything, right? So, Krishna was calling out for Mother Yashoda with his mouth by crying, but that was clearly not loud enough. Nobody was hearing. So, Krishna thought, with my mouth, if I'm calling, she's not hearing. Let me call with my feet and see. So, Krishna calls with his feet. He touches the cart with his feet, and that huge commotion happens, and then Mother Yashoda comes. This is another sweet way of looking at Krishna's supremacy and how wonderful his pastimes are and his means of reciprocating with devotees are, right? So anyway, Mother Yashoda comes and she sees all of it, and she also, all the Vrajavasis discuss that, why is this happening? Maybe there's an influence of bad planet on Krishna. Maybe there's something happening, because they know that something inauspicious is happening. So together they make a stronger resolve that from now we will protect Krishna even more nicely. We will take even more good care of him. We will love him even more, right? Already their love is the highest, right? It can't go beyond that. But here they are saying, Vrajavasi's mood is, whenever there's a calamity, whenever there's an obstacle, whenever there's a reversal, their love for Krishna increases. That is the hallmark of a Vrajavasi. And the hallmark of a conditioned soul is, smallest of obstacle, gone. Bhakti is gone down, right? Sadhana goes, everything goes down, right? That is the difference in the position. But this is very clearly established here. So then they all decide, and this pastime wraps up, right? But then the question is that, who is this Shakatasur? Who was he in his past life, right? I already mentioned this demon's name was Utkacha. So Utkacha was actually Hiranyaksha's son, right? One of the sons of Hiranyaksha. And this Utkacha was very, very strong, very well built. He had a huge body and he was very, very proud of his strength. He was proud of his body and bodily features and strength and everything. So one day he messed with Lomasa Rishi. He went to Lomasa Rishi's ashram and he started uprooting trees just like that for fun. He started demolishing the ashram of Lomasa Rishi. Lomasa Rishi got so angry, he cursed, that, oh, you're so proud of your body. I curse you because you're misusing your body. I curse you that you will not have your body. You will lose your body and you will remain a ghost. Then this, Utkacha became very, very repentant and very, sorrowful. And he went to Lomasa Rishi and he begged for forgiveness, that kindly forgive me. So Lomasa Rishi, out of compassion, he said, okay, okay, I get it. Now I understand that there's a curse. You have to take it, right? But now we are in the Chakshusha Manvantara. Next is the Vaivasvata Manvantara. In that, Krishna personally will come to Vrindavan and his touch of his feet will liberate you from your curse and will deliver you to the eternal planet, Golok Vrindavan, right? So Lomasa Rishi benedicts Utkacha. And by the mercy and benediction of a pure devotee like Lomasa Rishi, Utkacha gets the mercy of Krishna's lotus feet, right? Same is the theme throughout. Even in Damodar Leela, we see Nalakuver and Manigriva. By the mercy of Narada Muni, Krishna takes out time from his Vraja Leela to look at two conditioned souls who are standing as Yamalarjuna trees and liberate them, right? So why is he doing that? Not because of the Yamalarjuna trees, not because of these two people, because the word that Narada Muni gave, because the words of his pure devotees, right? So in the same way, we see here also this demon Utkacha got liberated. Now, in terms of what lessons does this teach us, right? There are two lessons. One is Utkacha represents load-carrying mentality, right? So that hand cart, right, it was filled with a lot of utensils and a lot of heavy things, right? Similarly, our heart is filled with a lot of anarthas, right? And we have to pray to Krishna through this pastime that just like you destroyed Utkacha, please destroy all the anarthas in my heart, which are so heavy that they are being an obstacle in my progress towards you, Krishna, right? Because we are trying to walk fast towards Krishna, run towards Krishna, but we are carrying very heavy load of kama, krodha, lobha, mada, matsarya, all of these, Vaishnava aparad, so many aparadhas. We are carrying this heavy load. But by Krishna's mercy, if this load gets destroyed, then very freely we can start and progress towards bhakti, towards Krishna, right? And then there's another important lesson to take from this shloka, right? That is that how do we utilize our body, right? Because Utkacha misused his body, and that is why he got the curse, which makes it very important for us that we should realize as devotees as well that we have to utilize our body, right? Very nicely. We shouldn't misuse it. Generally, in spiritual forums, Harikatha and everything, we are told that, okay, we're not the body, we're the soul, and we'll focus on the soul. We'll focus on spirituality and the soul and everything, right? We don't give a lot of importance to body as such. But actually, it is very, very important to take care of the body, right? Now, it's not that in the mood of taking care of the body, taking care of the comforts, we stop practicing bhakti. That is not at all true, right? This is a very, very special medium given to us by Krishna. We have to utilize it in his service, right? Because if we think about comforts and we are not able to chant, right? It's like if we are not able to sit in an air-conditioned room with a perfectly healthy body and chant Krishna's name, how can we expect to chant Krishna's name when we are in the deathbed, passing stool and urine, looking at Yamadutas and completely out of our senses, none of our senses working, right? It's impossible. And especially in Chaturmas and all, we are taking austerities, right? All of us have different rathas, we are taking austerities. And it is important also, right? Sometimes you might ask, Prabhuji, I'm a grahastha, I have so many, challenges, so many engagements. For brahmacharis, it is fine. They can do austerities. But for grahastha, it's not easy. We can't do austerities, right? But there's a very important point. Whether we wear white or we wear saffron, wear white means grahasthas. We are wearing white kurta. Yes, Mataji? Okay. So yeah, whether we are wearing white kurtas or we are wearing saffron kurta, right? Whatever it is, we are grahasthas or brahmacharis. Eventually, we will all end up getting burnt in the saffron of fire. Like when they burn our body, that fire is going to be saffron only, which represents austerity, right? So it's better that we start practicing austerities while we are still in this body, we are healthy, right? That is why Mahaprabhu says, Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga, right? That it's important to practice austerities. But in the name of practicing austerities, in the name of bhakti, we should not abuse our body, right? Which basically comes down to few very important things, right? In the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that anybody who who does not have regulated eating and regulated sleeping can never become a yogi, right? And I'm saying this, but it's very, very hypocritical of me because I give various excuses like work, this, that, seva, and everything, but I don't, I'm not able to regularly practice this. But the hope is at least by talking about this and by all of your mercy, I might be able to practice this. But yeah, this sleeping, right? Sleeping on time, eating on time, all of that part, right? And eating only Krishna Prasad. And Krishna Prasad is not just food offered to Krishna, it is food that was cooked to be offered to Krishna, right? So there are different levels of Krishna Prasad. And even sleeping, right? Like it's not just that we wake up early in the morning, but sleeping early is also very, very important, right? Gauranga Prabhu says that 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. is my time for you, and 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. is my time for me, right? When he says you, it means Vaishnavas, everything else, Krishna, temple service, everything, work. So 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. is for the outer world, but 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. is for us, which involves 9 p.m. to 3:30 a.m. of sleep, then getting up, Mangalarti, chanting, Shravanam, reading Shastras, all of that, right? So this is very, very important because if we are not doing this, if we are burning our body and trying to practice spirituality, it's like we are having a candle which is burned from both ends. It is lit from both ends. So then it will only last half as much as it could have probably lasted, right? Which is not at all good, right? So we should utilize every second of our human form of life without abusing or misusing the body, right? Because like Chanakya Pandit says, Ayusha Kshana Eko Bhi Na Labhyate Swarana Koti Bihi. Even one moment of human form of life lost cannot be replaced with Swarana Koti Bihi, crores of jewels. And I'll probably wrap up with this one last quote from His Holiness Kadamba Swami Maharaj, because eventually it's a balance. Like I said, we can't look after bodily comfort and give up bhakti. At the same time, we can't be so strict on sleeping and everything, or so strict on bhakti that we abuse our body, right? It shouldn't be that, we are saying that, I every day I will sleep at 9 p.m. for sure. And that day Guru Maharaj is coming and we have service, but we are saying, sorry, Guru Maharaj, bedtime, I won't come. That is also foolishness, right? So that is why Kadamba Swami Maharaj, he very beautifully summarizes that there are three balls in our life. One is health, sadhana, and seva. Seva is to Krishna, seva is to Vaishnava, seva means family, seva means work that we do. All of that comes under seva. So health, sadhana, and seva are the three balls that we are constantly juggling, right? It's a constant juggling act. Nobody can ever tell you that, okay, this situation, prioritize only this, do only this. Nobody can give us that. It's a constant juggling that we need to do all of our life. But if any of us like me, right? If you're saying, Prabhu, we wasted so many days, so many years, it's all gone now. Now, what is the hope? How can we get back, right? Then we have to understand that Krishna's mercy acts opposite of the law of gravity. Gravity works in a way that it pulls anything that goes up, it pulls it down. But Krishna's mercy is anything that goes down, Krishna uplifts them. Krishna pulls it up. Patita Pavana Prabhu, Tava Avatara. Patita Pavana Haito, Tava Avatar, right? His avatar is so merciful, especially Gauranga Mahaprabhu, right? He's made it so simple for us that even though we are fallen, he will uplift us. Just like Varahadev came when Mother Earth was submerged in the ocean, he uplifted her and put her in the original position. So if we can just surrender and associate with Vaishnavas, wherever we are lacking, whichever area we are lacking, we just have to associate there, right? For example, I mentioned, I'm not able to sleep early on time and all of that. Mathurapati Prabhu and his wonderful family, last time when they came, they were mentioning that for many years now, very strictly, they sleep by 9 p.m., whatever happens, and they are up, right? So I was hearing this and I felt so inspired. All of us are so fortunate to have association of devotees like them. Right? Even my father he's like that, right? We don't see the clock in the house. We just see what he's doing in the morning and we can estimate what time it should be, right? That's how disciplined he is in his sadhana and everything, spiritual life. So seeing that inspires us a lot. And by taking their association, we can imbibe it, right? It's like, how do we get COVID? By associating with someone who has COVID. Very simple. So how do we get inspired to be disciplined and do sadhana better and utilize our body better? By associating with those who can do that. And by Prabhupada's mercy, we have such wonderful Vaishnavas all over the world, right? So with that, I'm I think way over time, so I'll stop here. Sincere apologies for the delay, and yeah, I don't know if there's any time for any questions, but any comments or anything, any corrections, mostly welcome.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Sankhapani
Mataji.
Prabhu. It's a wonderful class. So we learned so many regarding Shravanam, importance of Shravanam, and Utkaja's previous life also, Loma Rishi's curse, and at last this time management. We heard time management also. So thank you so much, Mataji. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. And we wanted to hear your Kannada class also. So maybe if you are free in next week, we required your appointment in Kannada class, Prabhuji.
More than happy to serve, Mataji, whatever way.
Thank you so much. Radha Mataji, do you want to?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. I always, when your class is there, we will be in some service or the other. Today, I'm so happy that it was in the evening. I could completely hear you. Yes, all the Mataji's nicely summarized, but we also came to know what was Kamsa's initiation program today. So it was very nice. And one particular point I like, every time Rajavasis had a problem, their love towards Krishna increased. So beautiful, Prabhu. So like how we often, one common cold, we immediately come to just 16 rounds, even that with difficulty. But they developed more love. That's something which all of us should take a big lesson from this. Thank you so much. And I, on behalf of, again, Kannada Devote, there are a lot of people in Jakkur and Yelahanka who are just waiting to hear from Kannada Prabhu from you. It'll be very nice if we can get a small association again.